Haha, are we live? I believe we are live. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo. This is the TattooNOW show, and we have special guest Mike Devries beaming in from California. So I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I'm not sure whether you're beaming in live from the mobile app, and that's found at either of the app stores, either Google or the Apple Store, or straight at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. This is going out on the YouTubes, and looks like it is. So if you're watching, please let us know in the chat room. Hey, Jason, nice to catch up. Thank you very much for letting us know that it's working for you. This is also going out on, well, it's hopefully also going out on the Facebooks, and it looks like it is indeed. So again, please let us know that it's working. I've got a couple minutes of an introduction, and I want to talk about some of the upcoming events that you could find Reinventing at. And yeah, but in the meantime, if you could share this around, it's going to be a pretty awesome interview. Let's see, what do we got here? I was talking about the YouTube channels and the podcast. You might be listening to the podcast replay. All of the Reinventing the Tattoo Network shows, the art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars. There's so many different on-demand replays. You want to check them out at either in the library of the app. I was talking to some people yesterday who were using the app's library to get to all the replays. It's a tremendous amount of awesome content being made. You could also find them on the YouTube channels or the podcast channels, so click subscribe on either of those places because we're brand new there, as well as leave your kind words so that we can go up in the charts in those new channels. You could definitely send your constructive criticism or show ideas or guest ideas, or if you're interested in sponsoring or advertising, straight to management@reinventingthetattoo.com. If you are a tattooer and you are catching all of these, all the talk about all the different replays and whatnot, but you're not quite sure where to start, you can always go to reinventing247.com, reinventing247.com, and there's anywhere between 2 and 4 channels of replays going on there. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of that page, there's a place to put in your address. It has to be a studio address. You need to be a tattooer because we have sample packs, Reinventing sample packs that include Cheyenne tattoo cartridges as well as raw pigments, some inks. So if you are actively tattooing and you have a shop address, go to Reinventing247. Scroll down to the bottom and fill in your address. I think there's a couple of questions there, and we will send you some great, soon-to-be famous, but not quite famous yet, Reinventing the Tattoo sample packs. Okay, the weekly staple shows on Reinventing the Tattoo. So if you're watching a replay, you can always catch these awesome live shows. Excuse me. I'm taking a deep breath here. Get your tasty beverage. We have like 5 or 6 shows. Every Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, there's a Reinventing drawing group with Jason Leeser. Every 9 o'clock p.m. on Sundays, these are all Eastern Standard Times because we're in New York, we're in New York time here. 9 p.m. Eastern is the Tattoo Weekly with Jake Meeks, Lauren Gregory, and me. I'm Gabe Ripley. We go over some of the highlights of the previous week. We talk about some of the upcoming shows for the next week. And then we all will pick stuff from the archives. We talk about things that are in the news. That is the Tattoo Weekly every 9 o'clock Sundays. Yeah, Eastern. Mondays at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have a Reinventing drawing group bright and early. Not quite sure who's going to be hosting it, so we'll have some guests. If you are interested in waking up at 9 o'clock Eastern, it's even earlier in California. If you're in Europe and you want to host, it's in the afternoon anyways. We have drawing groups where everyone beams in to do their homework. It's always fun. 9 o'clock at night on Mondays, we have a subscribers exercise with Guy Aitchison himself. Every Monday, he works with people who are the paid subscribers. Thank you very much to all our sponsors for making this stuff free. Paid subscribers are the beating heart of Reinventing. It's like $300 a year, and yeah, it includes Monday exercises. You can basically be doing your homework and handing it in to Guy every week, and he'll critique it. He'll let you know what he would do to your artwork. It's pretty amazing, and I have to say, I'm just going to go off on this a little bit. Watching people do these Monday exercises, just about 6 months to a year now. You know, we were working on the virtual gatherings where we did this quite a bit, but really this weekly pace, and some people are doing this 2 or 3 times a week. people's artwork and tattoos are improving. It's just like going to the dojo. So that's Mondays at 9 o'clock with Guy Aitchison, who is an amazing tattoo inspiration and educator. His work speaks for itself, and he is an open book. He's the reason why there are so many collaborative things to do on Reinventing. He's the reason why Reinventing exists. We'll talk about that later. Okay, Tuesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have a Reinventing drawing group with Ricardo. He always has great exercises planned out. Every Wednesday at noon is the TattooNOW show, where I not only do the intros, but then I actually host and do some questions, do some panels, and I'm going to be interviewing Mike Devries. This is actually this is actually at 2 o'clock because we got our time zones a little screwed up. But anyways, Wednesdays at 12 noon, we're doing the TattooNOW show. Thursdays at 12 noon, the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Ruckus. They're doing like 2 hours every week. I think they're almost up to 50 episodes with awesome tattoo collectors. You definitely got to check it out. They had Russ on previously, and the collectors are great. The people that you've seen at all the conventions, but now you get to hear all their stories. Thursdays at 10 o'clock in the morning is another subscribers exercise with Kier. It's more of a fundamentals where all skill levels are encouraged, including apprentices and apprentice types. Kier's been tattooing, I think professionally, maybe even less than a year, but that's a great reason to go to her class if you're in that. Again, all skill levels, you could always be upping your fundamental skills, but this is specifically for apprentice types. People that might be a little threatened to beam into some of the other workshops are encouraged to catch up with Kier. Okay, a couple ways to support the show. I'm going to try to get this out in 3 or 4 minutes here. We've got real world events. The Paradise BYOB is happening October 3rd to the 6th, 2021. It's a BYOB, kind of like a picnic. When we first booked it, there was only less than 100 people per room, and everyone had to wear masks inside. Then it got opened again, and everyone got vaccinated. Not everyone, a lot of people got vaccinated. Everything opened up. Now everything's getting crazy again. Who knows what we're doing? We are beaming out a shit ton of webinars, and we're beaming out the stage. And we can have, at least up to 100 people per room. So, Paradise BYOB, the lineup is awesome. I'm really excited. We're just kind of, like I said, we're putting it together in the midst of this insanity, so bear with us a little bit. All of the tickets are going to be transferable to web tickets, and we will be webcasting nearly all of the major programming, basically stuff that we can't webcast out, we won't. Everything else gets webcast out. Apprentices are welcome. We have shop tickets. It's going to be a great time. It's only like $100 for the 4 days. It's a 4-day week start ticket because October 3rd to the 6th is a Sunday to Wednesday. Who the fuck does a show from Sunday to Wednesday? I guess shows that are dedicated to tattooers because those are the days off. Anyways, Paradise BYOB, check it out. Let's see. Again, presuming that we don't have to quarantine for weeks, a whole mess of us will be heading over to the Brussels Tattoo Convention, November 12th to the 14th. Nick Baxter, Ivana, and I will be doing seminars. The Reinventing crew, we have a whole mess of people that are coming over to be tattooing, to leading some Reinventing subscriber exercises. We'll definitely have like a general member meetup. It's going to be a lot of fun, November 12th to the 14th in Brussels. That's this year. 2022. We have shows. This is where we're really trying to kick things up. February 5th and 6th is a Reinventing Tattoo Live from the Red Tree Tattoo Shop, or the compound, the True Tubes headquarters out in Columbus, Ohio. That Saturday will be art jams and programming for the public and for collectors. That Sunday will be seminars, critiques, and that kind of thing. That's February 5th and 6th, Red Tree. Go to, TrueTubes.com, HellCity.com. We could figure that we're going to figure out what's going on there. Again, get in touch with Derb or with me sooner rather than later because seating is going to be limited. April 11th to the 14th is going to be the first Inspiring Tour in New Hampshire. This is very limited. It's, I believe, 7 registrations for 3 days plus a field trip day. This is at a bed and breakfast in New Hampshire. It'll be, I think it's like $2,000-ish for seminars the first day with Nick Baxter, plein air, painting out landscapes and whatnot. Second day with Sean Barber, doing some portraits. The third day, they're going to be working on a collaborative tattoo and directly talking about how the previous experiences with the paintings are informing how they're doing the tattoos. And then there'll be a field trip day the next day. Like I said, it's extremely limited. We're not really talking about it too much, but if you're interested, shoot me an email, gabe@tattoonow.com, and we could talk more about that. This is all 2022, that's April 11th to the 14th. May 20th to the 22nd, Hell City, Columbus, hellcity.com. July 8th to the 10th, 2022 is the Rock River Tattoo. The July 8th to the 10th is the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo, tattooartexpo.com. It's on a river. Cliff Breakers is the venue. Guy is going to have an amazing reinventing series. He's got like a lecture hall for that, designed to do lectures. It's going to be pretty awesome. tattooartexpo.com for that. July 29th to the 31st, 2022 is the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational. Tony Urbanek, who's doing a lot of the machine building exercises, is running his first convention out in Akron, Ohio. And then our last scheduled event for next year is October 20th to the 23rd, the Paradise Tattoo Gathering, the Thursday to Sunday full-on tattoo show with all the tattoo booths and all, 40 to 50 different seminars and stuff. That's happening then. I'm going to hammer through our sponsors because without it, this wouldn't be possible, and then get into the interview with Mike. Professional development, if you are a tattooer or an apprentice, courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Actually, I guess you could just go to reinventingthetattoo.com. It'll beam me over there. Click on the courses link. The Reinventing Canon is the main one. You want to sign up for that, probably first $300 a year for a guy. It's out of control how much you get for it. We also have seminars from Andre Malcolm, BJ Betts, Bob Tyrrell. We just put up the Jesse Smith webinar. A lot of the BYOB seminars will be webcasting out. So courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. WorldTattooEvents.com has the most comprehensive tattoo convention listings that exist. It's a directory that can't be copied. I know, I tried to, and it's impossible. He just must do this nonstop. And these days, I tried to copy like 10 years ago and gave up. We're friends now. Alex must just update 24/7, and these days convention updates are happening all the time. So worldtattooevents.com, check it out. Inkjetstencils.com. Donna and Russ, they have an amazing thing going on where you do your stencil prep on your iPad or your computer. You print it out through your eco-friendly tank. They sell the inks and the papers. They're going gangbusters. Check it out, inkjetstencils.com. They've got either for like flash shops, hammering shit out left and right, or they actually have a system you can print out back pieces and sleeves and shit in one shot. Rawpigments.co, acrylic free. They don't dry out in the cup. They are vegan friendly. Check out, they've got a whole mess of videos. Lauren's been doing some interviews with raw pigment artists here on the Reinventing app. Rawpigments.co. D-Lies Pro in the United States. It's Dermalize in the rest of the world. Thank you, international trademark laws and whatnot. So if you have seen Dermalize videos, know that D-Lies Pro in the United States, same stuff, different country. But check it out. If you're still using cling wrap, it's designed not to breathe. The Dermalize D-Lies Pro is designed specifically to let your wound heal. So check it out. Definitely watch the videos. Use it as it's directed. You don't want to peel that shit off the wrong way. You want to peel it off the right way. Let's see. TattooNOW.com. That's me. I do computer geek stuff for tattooers, technology for tattooers. Now that Reinventing is pretty much up to speed, we've got new technologies for everything. I'm paying attention to some of our awesome dedicated website clients. I think we're doing about 100 sites still after 20 years of doing websites. So we've got 2 or 3 new sites in production. And if you're interested in search engine hours, if you are a current client or a possible new client, let me know, TattooNOW.com, Gabe@TattooNOW. Oh shit, this is going on forever. Guy Aitchison.com is Guy. He makes this whole channel happen, the Reinventing channel happen. GuyAitchison.com. I'm going to pop in here, and I believe Mike is in the background. Hey Mike, how goes it? Thanks for being in the background there. I'm going to just double check that this is streaming out in all of the right places. Oh, look at this. We have people in the chat rooms, Ricardo and Damon. They're talking about fishing. Haha. Talking about the change a little bit. Okay, so this is cool. We've got... Oh, actually, they were there earlier in the day. We did have to shift this up. Thanks for rebeaming in people. Jason Lesser is in the chat rooms. Okay. Watching from Argentina. Hola, hello, cello. Como Hargo. Oh, there's some Spanish going on here. How do I listen to it in Spanish? We can't listen to these in Spanish, but we do actually have a lot of Spanish programming. We'll talk maybe slowly for some people, I guess. But this is working. So, Mike, how are you doing? It's been a little while. I think the last time we caught up was in Vegas, like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe.
Was it Vegas? Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, with the pandemic and everything, I mean, you know, we're hanging in there.
Oh shit! You just started to go crazy. That's interesting.
What do you mean?
Can you see your? Can you see what's going out? All of a sudden, you just started getting really pixelated.
No.
Huh. Well, I am.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Oh yeah, that's
Hold on
interesting.
one
I wonder
second.
why that started. Thank you for dealing with this live, everybody. Now's a great time to share it out. You know what? I could get
Give me
you.
1 second, sorry.
Yeah, take time. I'm gonna fire up some pictures here for everybody to check out. Yeah, perfect. But
All right.
yeah, man, yeah, it's been an insane, couple of years since Vegas. I remember you did also. There was an interview for the virtual tattoo gathering with Tony Rommel from Tattoo Society magazine.
Oh yeah, that was a couple years ago, I think, wasn't it?
That interview was just about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, and I was looking for the replay of it. Some of these things people have to catch live. That was some of the magic that, like I said, I couldn't find the replay, but yeah. So, you've been tattooing for over 2 decades now. We were talking about this. You're one of the oldest TattooNOW websites and clients. And I remember first being introduced to your work, like right out of the gate, you were doing some crazy realism. But I swear, we'll have to do some fact checking because this is so long ago. I swear you're like, when I first talked to you, you're like, yeah, I'm tattooing out of my garage. I'm like, holy shit, you're tattooing out of your garage? Isn't that like forbidden? And you're like, yeah, I've been doing it for like, I don't know, it wasn't 2.5 weeks. Maybe it was like, 6 months to a year, but it was like right out of the gate, it seemed like you were doing killer work, out of a private studio in southern Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
we call it a private studio. It was full private. But yeah, no, that's how I was taught. The guy had a nice private studio in his garage, and from my construction background, I was like, I'll just do that. I feel like the people that tattoo out of their house, I guess there's 3 different types. There's the guys starting out, and then there's also the guys finishing their career.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because they're fucking fed up about the tattoo shop world.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So, they go private.
Sure.
I started private.
And you had learned, so you have a bunch of interviews. This is like a surprise question. Is there a good, another interview or some videos that you already have online where you talk about your backstory? I mean, obviously we could go into it, but if you have I know you have interviews in some of the other channels. If you could think of any, then we could just point people to those to get the backstory, and kind of pick up, somewhere along the line.
Not really. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff out there on YouTube and whatnot, but yeah, it is going on. I mean, round it off, it's damn near 20 years. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, I remember like Nick Baxter is somebody else who's for years it's been like, oh no, he's only been tattooing 3 years. Oh no, he's only been tattooing. Well, I guess it's been 6 years. By now, it's like shit. It's been 20 years. You better fucking keep being good.
Yeah.
So you had an apprenticeship with or some private tutoring, or I mean, I guess what were some of the most important things that you picked up that helped accelerate your tattooing career? And I've got some of the older tattoos here fired up.
Well, one thing I remember early on in my in my learning, which I guess technically it was an apprenticeship, but it was just a different type of apprenticeship. One thing I remember specifically, but keep in mind, this guy that taught me, he's like a color bomb, new school, at that time, koi fish and, lower back flower tattoos all day long, full color, bright. But I was always intrigued with realism and whatnot. And I remember taking a magazine to him, and it was featuring Tom Renshaw. And
Mm.
I was like, dude, how in the hell is he doing all of this hair? Is it a special tool? I remember asking that specific question. Is it a special needle? Where you're just like, and it's like, okay, that's 1,000 dots that we call hair. But no, he was like, no, you got to do every single one of them. He's sitting there pointing,
Hmm.
pricking every single dot. And I was like, oh shit, okay, all right. So that was an interesting learn, but even my mentor, he still doesn't realize, like, dude, I didn't really teach you much.
Uh,
But I don't know. I started getting tattooed like very heavily at an early age, and I feel like that's when my learning started, spending so much time at somebody else's garage, which was at that time we could call ghetto. Uh, there was times it was in a school bus. There was times where it was in a trailer pulled by a low rider caddy. Uh, my parents were out of town. I was throwing tattoo parties when I was 15. Uh,
oh shit.
and yeah, I definitely got grounded for that one. But yeah, I mean that's where it started because I paid attention just to everything, and
Yeah.
and then so when I got the opportunity to learn, I just jumped all over it and just
Yeah.
ran with it.
I remember right out of the get-go, you had like a full tattoo collection going on, and I imagine that just being able to watch. I mean, obviously, this is a pretty common story. Just being able to watch people during their process, if you're paying attention, over the course of years, it's one of the best ways to learn. Did you have any artistic background before then, or were you straight up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I was always interested in art. I mean, I pursued. I almost got something going with Disney and whatnot, but no. I mean, I
Okay.
ended up graduating high school, and I just went to work with my old man in construction, and but I was still getting tattooed like all the time. I had my hands, my sleeves, my hand, and at that time, shit. It's like, yeah, should you do your hands? Should you do your neck? That type of thing. Everybody's tattooing their face now. It's a completely different time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was fully covered even before I knew that I was possibly going to be a tattoo. I didn't even know. I just loved everything about tattooing. And I mean, flash forward, but that's like 27 years since I got my first tattoo. Yeah, I'm still every bit in love with the craft, really. And I'm constantly trying to strive to better whatever it is. If I'm bettering myself, it's gonna come back to everybody else because I like to teach, I like to help people, and I feel like I got a whole new bag of tricks
Yeah.
that I want to share with everybody.
And you've been teaching for a long time. I remember. So I have one of the puppy dogs fired up. We could talk about some of those early tattoos, and
Yeah.
but you also were teaching and doing DVDs right out of the gate. What are some of those early experiences of teaching? And I mean, I imagine the feedback was pretty awesome. By now, some of those tattooers have been tattooing like, I don't know how long it's been, 10 or 15 years since they've been checking out those DVDs.
Yeah, so my my first book, I think it was '09. So however long that is. I don't even know what year it is.
I think it's like 12
2012
years now, right?
to only 12? Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, 12 years ago I did Let's Be Realistic. That was the first book, which was just advanced like techniques for realism color. Then did multiple books after that, but not so much education. We do have a new book actually called Mastering Realism. That's really, really. I've learned so much from this damn book. I didn't write it. It was Lanny Markowski called Mastering Realism. It's really, really good. But then, shortly after Let's Be Realistic that I wrote in '09, then there was a couple DVDs like Get Real, uh, and then Get Real Animal Style. Then I did a Get Digital. Then there's seminars and all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
But
I remember somebody was just recently talking about the Photoshop DVD that you did. They were talking about how that was one of their first introductions into the digital world. Have you
yeah.
I mean, like, obviously you've already transitioned into the digital world. You almost did you get into this doing it kind of digital, or were you just on that cusp?
No, I learned Photoshop after I started
You
tattooing.
did, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I still use it
you still
every
use
single day.
Photoshop? Are you on the iPad, or are you still on the computer in the Photoshop for the?
Photoshop,
Yeah, because it's just got
Photoshop,
two.
and yeah, I feel like, everybody's on Procreate, which is great. I get it. I tried it, I used it. But at the end of the day, just give me Photoshop. You know, it's got a couple extra tools that I use on there that Procreate doesn't have,
Yeah.
and it's the type of tool that I just can't do what I'm doing without it. So I jump on Photoshop every single time.
Yeah, it definitely seems like, there are professional tools that are kind of difficult to use. You kind of have to be a computer geek. But nowadays, they're able to, like the gap is kind of shortening up a little bit. So, with the Procreate, people that are less geeky can produce better effects. But then there's a whole
Oh
crew
yeah.
of computer geeks that are like, well, why would I go to that? I already have, I'm already flying jet, And that's kind of the way Photoshop seems sometimes.
Yeah, no, Photoshop is an extremely powerful tool. I mean, I wish they made a good Photoshop for the iPad. There is, but it's nothing like Procreate. Like if Procreate and Photoshop had a baby, I mean,
Uh huh.
that'd be amazing.
Nice. And so let's see. So before, well, like I was saying, as we started off, we caught up over in Vegas. Let's chat a little bit about traveling around and stuff. There's so many of us can't. We haven't been able to travel. I imagine that you've been kind of in LA for a bit. What were some of your favorite? So let's go back in time. What were some of your favorite conventions or travel experiences from back in the day?
Oh, back in the day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, always the best ones are the stories that stick with you. Like all the bad stuff that happened,
Oh shit.
and fights in France with Roman, or
Uh-oh.
you know, all sorts of fun stuff like that. But you know what? It's it's always been the same way. I'd like to attend conventions that in a country or a city that I want to visit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know. Australia was amazing. I loved Amsterdam. New York is cool. Uh, there's I, th- there's there's tons and tons of places that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that the tattoo, the spirit of tattooing enables us to really experience parts of the world that a lot of people, I mean, everyone has the opportunity if they want to work really hard to kind of do it. But, certainly the combination of the traveling spirit of artists and tattooing and clients. Yeah, I just absolutely love it. Do you have any travel planned coming up, or what's your as of mid 2021 here, what is your traveling looking like?
Well, the Paradise
Right, the
Gathering.
BYOB. So that's October 3rd to the 6th. Not a tattoo convention, but definitely encouraging a responsible amount of people to come out in person to Jiminy Peak.
Yeah. Uh, so there's that. I might try and do Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I mean, it's right in my backyard, so I might as well do it. Uh, then there's the Empire, and then take a little trip over to yours,
Yeah,
Paradise. But
the Empire is October 1st to the 3rd, so that's the in New York City. And then yeah, there's a fair amount of people that'll be popping up, that Monday morning to Monday morning-ish to catch up with the last 3 days of Paradise.
you said that's October?
That's Empire is in October, yeah. So that's the weekend just before Paradise at Jiminy Peak.
Okay. I better double check those dates. I thought it was September, but I'm sure
Everything
it's
has
right.
kind of gotten bounced around a little bit. Of course, it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really crazy time to be throwing events.
Yeah. Well, yeah. With that being said, I mean, shoot, not Paradise, Golden State. I mean, I think that's Pasadena. It's essentially LA. I don't. We have the word on the street over here in LA. area is that we're gonna get shut down again in about 2.5 weeks,
Ugh,
mid August.
yeah. It, you,
So yeah,
you know, that's when the thing with the Paradise show is we kind of, I mean, basically it had been a long ass time, and I had the place rented, and we kind of have designed the event so that we could webcast out, people can beam in. The most of the seminars, they cost the same amount of dough if you want to just beam into it. Because originally when we did it, we were in a pandemic, and it was like, okay, everyone's got to wear masks, can't have too many people inside. But
yeah,
that said, Jiminy Peak is a lot of outdoors. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fresh air. A lot of condos with porches. So
yeah. So that'll be a go no matter what. Then is that what you're saying?
yeah, and if it breaks down to the fact, just being the talent, beaming out, then we'll still do it. And if the talent can't travel here, then we can be beaming in as we would have with the virtual conventions. So, like I said, the beauty of what we're doing really is, it's already hybrid, right? So, worst case scenario, I head up to Jiminy Peak with my cameras and computers, and a mask, tell everybody to stay 6 feet back, but I'll zoom in, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like I
We'll
said,
do what we gotta do.
at the height of it, and 6 months ago, a year ago, when we were setting this up, the worst of the restrictions were less than 100 people in the room, everybody wearing masks, and
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm preparing everybody for. If it's any less than that, then we're lucky. And like I said, there's, as you know, Jiminy Peak is a ski resort. We have done seminars
yeah,
outside, and could always
yeah.
do
It's
that if we
really
need
nice
to.
there.
But
Yeah.
check this out. So you want to talk about? I've got more. These tattoos are just so fucking cool. I've got some of the Star Wars ones. Excuse me. So just for a sake of reference, like, how is this like a one session tattoo or 2 sessions? About how long do these take? This is it's looking pretty awesome here.
Yeah, that was actually a few years back at Detroit Convention. That it's not that big. That one, I mean, those are pretty straightforward. I mean, it's about 4 hours
Okay.
ish, maybe. Even some of the small little more like 3D type ones actually take longer than those.
Because of the detail and time needed. Let's fire up some of those. Yeah, well, look, these are all amazing realism. This is one of the
That was,
first.
yeah, that was one of the first. Although I was doing some 3D stuff like ever since the beginning. I remember doing a realistic pear on somebody, like with it looked 3D and whatnot, many years ago. So I've always like loved it. I'm a ginormous fan of like chalk art, like the 3D chalk art. If
Uh huh.
you have never seen it, oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah.
yeah. That I mean, I had a crazy 3D tattooed. It was like this little thing that looked like it was standing on my leg, but depending on the camera. Other
Yeah.
than just the photo, it was kind of dumb, but I mean, it's been covered up since. But there's a lot of interesting things that you could do on skin that I've been, uh, messing with and different technique and whatnot. And I feel like I got it down, so I wanna start sharing it with people.
Yeah, it's cool. And now you recently did a seminar down with Jesse Smith down at Loose Screw Tattoo,
Yeah,
and
two, two.
two.
I was just over there twice.
Awesome. He's great. You want to chat about your experience down there a little bit? Because Jesse's always been one of those another one of those tattooer, artist, entrepreneur, business owners.
Yeah,
So somehow you guys are probably pretty in tune with some things.
yeah. Jesse's been around for a while too, and I think there's always that little bit of a connection when you're on the road and you see these people over and over again. You become really good friends, and so as of recent was the first time that I ever went to Loose Screw, and he's got a badass shop. I mean, yeah, it's really really cool. I like everybody that works there. Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
He really took care of me too. He's a great guy.
Awesome. He, I appreciate working with him. He's the type of tattooer who could. Oh wait, I think I could do this. Does that work? Oh, it did work. Holy shit! I've got a new clicky thing here. Jesse's one of those artists or just people who when you have a conversation with, there's back and forth. He actually listens, and then the next time you talk, he was like, oh yeah, I tweaked this or that, or I changed something because of our last conversation, and not anymore. I'm not surprised, but for years it'd be like, oh wow, that's amazing that you actually listened and didn't like fight it or sit on it. You actually implemented it, changed it, and then embellished upon it, right? So now he's like, you should see, some of those documents you sent my way. You should see how I worked with them. They're even better now. And anyways, yeah, I love Jesse. He's got a very good, good sense, and he's also another teacher who also cares about passing on his knowledge and whatnot.
Oh yeah, he's just an all around good guy. I mean, awesome. For sure.
And then, cool, let's get back to these. So now I think that if I click... Oh, shit, nope, that didn't work. Oh, that brings me to my script. Hey, you know what? Actually, I have a note here to fact... Oh, no, before we get there, let's talk about maybe some of the previous shifts in the tattoo industry, right? So when you got into this, you kind of came in with a spotlight, right out of the gate. As I was saying, you were doing some realism work, and to your point, you'd always been working with like special effects, in 3D tattoo effects, So when you were recently like, I do 3D tattoos, I'm like, you've always done 3D tattoos. Then I see what you're talking about. I'm like, oh wait, okay, boom. The point of these tattoos is to show off, the 3D effects, not necessarily to have a tattoo that has 3D effects. In any event, you kind of came in on a spotlight, and you've seen it shift around a bunch. Realism kind of. Again, it's still here and as rich as ever. But like, anyways, let's talk about some of the shifts that you've seen. Maybe some of the first couple, and then because it's always fun to hear the history and get it down on video here.
Yeah. So gosh. I mean, I can't say that I was the first one doing this type of work. I mean, at that time there was Nico, there was Mike DeMasi, which I became friends with like almost right off the bat, and we worked together for a long time, and he taught me a lot. Mike's a great guy as well.
Yeah, love DeMasi.
But yeah, so during my short apprenticeship, I remember too, Mike DeMasi was on the cover of a magazine too, and that's when I first heard of him. And then I saw him at a convention, and then we started getting along really great. So basically, I'm not, because there was also Corey Cudney. Mm-hmm. He was in a magazine. At that time there was magazines. There was no Instagram. There was no MySpace even back then.
Oh no.
Maybe there was MySpace. Was there MySpace?
Nah, there was no MySpace.
No MySpace.
Nope. There was like Ink Nation, but I think that you may have even been pre-Ink Nation when you were starting. Like who else was it? Like Dino Cook had that fucking rib piece that was out of control.
I would say Dino Cook and Corey Cudney. Mm-hmm. In my book, as far as color realism, yeah, sure there was other guys. The Tom Renshaws. There was some other guys that were amazing.
Yeah, the Eternal Ink
color.
Crew.
Oh, also Robert Hernandez.
And Hernandez, yeah.
I remember in the first month of my apprenticeship, Jim Hike, the guy, my mentor, he's like, "Hey, let me show you something real quick," and he pulls up Robert Hernandez's website, and even though Robert does all sorts of crazy shit, he did color realism.
Yep.
And it was amazing. So I took that and stuff, but I feel like I did help color realism get take it to the next level as far as popularity is concerned, because I was just on top of it. I was like, screw it. And I just, sent my stuff to all the magazines and this and that, and I traveled everywhere. So I think that helped, the boom, because,
sure.
There was Nico. Nico was there too, which, Mike DeMasi taught Nico. So when I was working with DeMasi, he taught Nico. So, but Nico was also huge at the time, and he still is. Yeah,
I remember some of those. Was it Catwoman? Was one of the tattoos?
Yeah, Batman.
And the whole Batman, that whole egg. That was like a whole collection of. I remember seeing those for the first time. I think Joshua Cartland was the guy that turned me on to Nico way back. Obviously, it was just over a decade or maybe close to 15 years ago at this point. Yeah, but now you've also been always very business minded, right? So even back in that time, you started, self-publishing and making some of your own products. You started working with some of the other companies. You want to chat about some of those early business, and again, in some ways it was, we could almost point to somewhere, before there was investment banking corporations, buying up multiple, supply companies or partnering or investing with. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not privy to any of those deals, and I don't mean to be disparaging. But what I mean to say is, you were there when it was still really all tattooers. I mean, I'm not a tattooer, right? So part of me is, this new, era of business people coming in to, and again, the successful ones are collaborating. Anyways, let's talk about some of those very first businesses and some of that shit.
So I mean, as far as like the book thing, I have Memento Publishing. We've published, I think, like easily a dozen books. Maybe we might be at 13 or 14 books now. Some coffee table style books. Actually, the first one, which actually he helped me a lot, was Guy Aitchison. We collaborated on the first Tattoo Prodigies book. Which was amazing. It was like Memento Publishing and Proton Press at the time.
Awesome.
So there was that. I remember that I tattooed this one guy. He was like a really crazy like bodyguard, and he was ginormous. I remember him walking in. I'm just like, damn. But he's like, hey. He had this manual. It was a book. I swear, it was a 3-ring binder actually, kind of like Guy's early book. But it was thick. I mean, it was probably 3 or 4 inches, and it was Bodyguard International Training. And he's like, Mike, you should write a book. So that's where I got, that, and then also combined with Reinventing the Tattoo. I was like, you know what, maybe I should, So I did that. Then so that was probably my first experience with outside of the art world. Prior to that was construction. So construction, art, tattooing. Then venturing out business-wise with products and all that sorts of stuff was so, there was Let's Be Realistic and Tattoo Prodigies, but then very, very actually early on, and it was from Mike DeMossi's, mine and Mike's friendship, that I got connected with Mario Rose now, and we partnered together very early on. I mean, I don't even think it had, maybe it had its name, but Stencil Stuff. So I'm co-founder of Stencil Stuff, Prep Stuff, Spray Stuff, all that stuff. I also helped Redemption, Tattoo Care. So that was that went really well, because I remember early on, like, I know there's guys a lot older than me, that were probably tattooing without gloves and cleaning needles with alcohol and stuff, but at that time, I feel like I'm right in the middle of like old school and like new, So it's like, because when I first started, I think I was using Star Bright, and I think the max amount of colors that you could get was 24.
Oh shit!
It was a 24 color set. Shit, now I think Eternal Ink has like 600 colors or something like that. So you don't even have to try to like get your shade, or whatever. But yeah, so there's been a lot of developments with that as well. But Stencil Stuff was a good one. And then recently, it was 3 years ago, I started the company Wipeouts, which are sterilized tattoo towels that are softer, they're just really good. They're prepackaged. I don't have any around here, but no, they're really cool. I encourage people to try them, because ever since I started using these, it's shit. I spend so much time. Who would have thunk that, when Mike Devries grows up, he'd be a towel expert, but shit, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
but
let me fire him up here real quick here. Sorry, keep chatting. I'm gonna fire up Wipeouts in the background.
I don't know. It was an idea based off of the fact of, like, if you had a wound and you went to urgent care, and hey, you're like, hey doc, I have this wound, I fell down. If they were to say, hold on one second, hey Susan, hey, hey, go run to 7-Eleven, get some Bounties. I got a wound to clean up. It's just like, wait a second. But ever since I started using them every day, I mean, I haven't heard a peep of somebody complaining about the wipe, which also leads me to think less abrasion, less hurting, better healing, less touch-ups, less hurting, more time in the chair to create. There's so many pros to it, but I feel like what the hard part, my challenge, because I've been working on this for a few years, but the challenge is, you've heard the saying, loyal to the coil.
Sure, of course.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that I don't think nobody's heard before. They're loyal to their roll.
Nice.
Loyal to
People really dig their paper towels. Yeah, to your point,
They do.
Using any like this, it's similar, philosophies with a saran wrap. It's like, it was used when there was no things designed, for the purpose. But there's people now that are designing
Sure.
things for the purpose.
Sure, but saran wrap still works, and not wrapping still works.
Right.
But almost a wipe, a pain-free wiping tattoo experience from start to finish. And you don't hear anybody complain like there's it's a painless tattoo wipe.
Awesome.
And they're sterilized. In this day and age, you should be breaking open that pack of wipes, set it on your station, and you're ready to go. Also, something that I'm going to start pursuing here in a minute, because these artists are, they're loyal to the role. So it's like, okay, well, at some point I gotta shift things, and like, well, what else is this good for? Well, how do you dry your fresh tattoo? Paper towel or a bath towel?
Yeah.
Because I'm fully covered. My whole body's covered. My neck used to be tattooed.
Sure.
I'm head to toe. Not head to toe, but everything.
Neck to toe.
And neck to toe. And I don't know. Let's say you use a fresh bath towel after you get out of the shower, after you clean your tattoo. Well, how do you dry it? Like, not a lot of people talk about that. They always talk about what kind of soap to use. They always talk about, when to clean it, how to clean it, what to put on it. But nobody talks about drying it. Now, if you air dry it, okay. But I still don't think that's good enough. So
because the water is still soaking in if you air dry, right?
Air dry, it's okay.
Yeah.
Air dry, that's fine. But if you open up a pack of wipeouts, the option is either 10 or 20 towels that are soft, and you open the pack, you put it on next to your sink in your bathroom, and now you have 10 or 20 sterilized, dry, soft towels to dry your tattoo.
Nice. To pat dry.
It's the safest, and it's probably the best. I can't think of a better way.
Huh. That lineup of artists that's using it's pretty sick.
What's that?
That lineup of artists that's using it's pretty sick.
Yeah. So this wipeouts I'm still plugging away. But you know what? Another thing too that's going to be super awesome is it should be probably any day. Well, maybe not any day, but within a couple of weeks. Cleansing tattoo aftercare wipes in 40 count packs. It's going to be super cool. I had them somewhere around here. But then also pain relief wipes. They're cleansing with the point. Well, you guys don't need to know all that shit, the percentages of whatnot, but it's antimicrobial as well as infused with lidocaine, kind of like Bactine. So they're numbing wipes, and they're incredible. I've tested it, and the order is in.
That's what I was. My only question, I didn't want to ask it because I didn't ask you in advance. I was going to wonder if there was any sort of Bactine, lidocaine. And, some people add just a little bit into their rinse cups or whatever. But sounds like that's exactly what's going on.
And it's crazy because I tested it for like over a year. I had a 5-gallon drum, and what I was doing was just open a pack of wipeouts, give it a drench, put it on my cart, and then there you go. But you don't need your rinse bottle. You don't need your plastic bags to cover it. You don't have to waste your time to dilute the soap, and basically you use those wipes from start to finish. So it's almost a pain-free tattoo experience. Forget the numbing creams and forget all that other crap and the spray. You don't want to be spraying open wounds anyway, but a numbing wipe, let me tell you, you pull a line, you still got a stencil, you pull a line, you wipe it. Now it's numbing. You pull another line, it's numbing. It's just constant the whole time.
Yeah.
It's really great. So,
I mean, because the active ingredients doesn't work on unbroken. From what I know or from what I've heard, it won't work on unbroken skin. That's why you need to like really soak it down. But often people used to use it just kind of near the end. So after the skin was kind of open, sometimes you could soak a little bit of it in there. Give it 15 minutes and then go back and do the whites. But to your point, like
it's because you can't.
You can't what?
You can't. No, nobody wants to use Bactine until they're done with the stencil, because Bactine will take the stencil off. But if it's more precise, like let's say this is a wipe, you pull a line and you just go like that.
Right.
You're not affecting the stencil at all. But there's the other creams and stuff. But oh gosh, I've never in my career been like, that cream's pretty badass. You know what? I want to start recommending it to all my clients to put it on before they leave it on for an hour, wrap it in plastic, come over. Because the thing is when that wears off, they're done.
Yeah. I've also never heard of a successful case of that. Like I said, it took me a while to really even believe the the Bactine lidocaine and the rinse cuppy thing. But, after a while, again, Guy does it that way. I think Jeff Ensminger, Jake. I mean, obviously, lots of people figured out, this kind of method. But it is amazing how, well, I guess this could kind of shift into another question. So obviously, you think about client care. But I guess, how important is it to pay attention to clients' pain management? Obviously there's a lot of old school
100%.
tattooers that are like, fuck it's
going
to hurt. Okay, let's riff on that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I look, I like I said, I feel like I'm a crossbreed between an old school mentality and new. And you have to adapt or you just get stuck in your ways, use your coil, use your rolls, But here's the bottom line. This is what I truly believe from the bottom of my heart is we're not necessarily selling tattoos. We're selling an experience. And if that experience was fucking horrid, I don't know if that client is going to be rushing back into your chair. But if it was good, they're coming back.
100%.
That's what they're addicted to.
It's
not the tattoo.
So, but the combination of the two, right? And this is where, you're one of those artists, a lot of artists that pay attention to both the experience and the effect that experience has on people, as well as, a piece of tattoo, not a piece of tattoo art, but a fucking awesome tattoo.
Correct.
Then all of a sudden, that's where the...
Yeah, and I feel like also I'm both. I'm an avid tattoo collector. I've been tattooed probably by, I think last time I counted was 50 artists, good ones. Nico, Victor Portugal, Arlo. I mean, the Nick Baxter did my chest. Carson, did my back.
Oh, can we see your chest? Could you just fucking break out? Let's see what it looks like naturally and hairy.
Oh, and Josh Duffy so this was okay. Let me see. The camera's weird. Nick Baxter. Bob Tyrrell, Baxter, Nico, Andy Engel did inside little eye up there. Carson Hill did this one. This other guy, just some random shop did that one. Oh, Josh Duffy did the filigree here.
Beautiful.
Garcia did some stuff there. Victor did my butt. Arlo did kind of by my butt. But there's a lot of guys. Gosh, jeez, there's Josh. I've been tattooed by a lot of guys. A lot of hours. It's about 1,000.
No one could take offense if you didn't include them with so many people in there already.
What's that?
No one could take offense if you missed them because you can't list off all 50 people.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I mean, Lanny did my own. I mean, yeah, there's a lot. Sergey just did my neck. It's not done yet. Josh Duffy did the back of my neck. Guy did my foot. Guy Aitchison did my foot. Jeff
Awesome.
Ensminger did my other foot. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I feel like that's why I could see both sides.
Yes.
Like, I'm in the chair. I see people in the chair. Just, oh, it hurts, or this or that, or uncomfortable, or this or that. Word, but
Motherfucker. Well, let's give it a. Oh, look at that. Looks like the stream has come back here. Or at least it says it has. Back to Vimeo. Oh, I think we're back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So, what were we talking about? Thank you for keep staying. People are still tuned in, so thank you for bearing with our internet connection. Okay. So, how about this? I've got a question for you that comes in pretty often. What is the one main concern, or at least these days, what is your main concern as far as tattooing in the style that you're working in? So, as far as tattooing realist tattoos, when you're about to go into the tattoo with a client or to do the design, what are some of the main issues that you're looking to solve these days?
Like I said, it's all about the experience. So
Mm-hmm.
the experience starts as soon as they walk through the door. I feel that, and what I'm going to talk about a lot and explain in detail is it's all about the prep. It's just like drawing a back piece. If you're going to spend 5 hours drawing a back piece, okay, well, how about 5 hours of prep with something realistic that you just find a picture? Okay, well, is that good enough? No, it's not. So it's the prep.
Yeah, for sure. That let me catch the cameras back here. What's there's the measure twice, cut once kind of old adages, but there's certainly no question that the people that are the most successful spend a lot of time arranging their environments and the forces at work that they can control, towards success. And sometimes it's actually, imagine, you hear it too. It's very frustrating when people are like, oh, you're so lucky, or oh, you get to travel, and it's like, well, wait, we've aligned a lot of parts of our life specifically so we could do that, and to your point, the preparations will often, the more time that you spend thoughtfully preparing, you could really save so much time and energy. And in some ways, you can't really even scale. You can't do a lot of things unless you figure out how to do it like that.
Yeah, I mean, but for like a 3D tattoo that I'm gonna be teaching here real shortly, it's a different mindset. It's a completely different mindset and a completely different approach. I mean, Guy's done it. He could probably figure it out where I'm going with it, but yeah, it's a completely different mindset, and it's not a come in, knock it out. Like knock it out. Like, yeah, I'm gonna knock this out. That shouldn't even be in a tattoo artist vocabulary unless you're a traditional artist or this or that. And that's what it's calling for, sure. But if you're trying to do something a little bit different, or outside of the box, there's thought, there's a process, there's almost steps you got to take. Like, and that when I tattoo an all day thing, let's say it's for that, little, like this, what I see on the screen here is like that blow pop. That blow pop took 6.5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
6.5. Tattoo time, 3 hours of prep. All day.
Awesome. So to be able to,
it takes just as long, if not longer, than a regular size, decent size 1 day tattoo.
Yeah,
it's the same.
And you're planning to basically where the contrast is going to be, because obviously there's so much fine detail, but it's all like right next to things. It seems that so yeah, it feels like it actually does follow. Are you breaking any rules here? I mean, I guess we don't want to get too much into what you're.
I break all the rules.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Multi-stencil. That's not just one stencil either.
Okay.
But I want to explain that in the seminar. I mean, there's so much that it's next. It's not. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, I'm next level, but this process to do this shit, it's next level. It's it's almost too much.
So that's pretty awesome. So I didn't realize that. So you're doing like a multi-stencil, like in between passes, or in between. Well, like I said, I guess you don't want to talk about it too much. Let's just dork out on this shit and fucking.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe do you want to
That Jolly Rancher took 4.5 hours.
4.5 hours of tattoo time, and then even more to prep.
Just the shadow took 1.5 hours.
Awesome.
But also, the reason for that is for the perfect heel. And I think a lot of tattoo artists overlook that. Take your fucking time, make sure it heals good, because it's part of the experience. If somebody goes home and their tattoo is just bloody and and not healing good, that their friends are looking at it. It's all part of the experience. If it's a good heal and it does great and it looks really good in shot, okay, well, they're excited. They're more excited than, hey, man, check this out. Like, I don't know. Like, how about you just take your time the first time and just get it done right first time?
And
it's like what you just said. Measure twice, cut once.
Well, yeah. Yeah, here's another one that as soon as I remember seeing this guy, whew.
7 hours.
Awesome. Fucking.
But I also think that any artist that is using the time, the clock, I think the clock is our worst enemy. And, I stopped charging by the hour because, first of all, if it's an hour, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of prep, whether or not whatever it is, looking for something, Photoshop is this or that, which I could explain that when, during seminars and workshops that we're going to do. But it's just different. So if there's let's just say 3 hours of prep, including a stencil, which for this, there's an art form for that and a specific way to do it. If you skip certain steps, it's going to lack,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I just end up charging by the day, but it's a hard sell because it's like, yeah, we're going to be here all day for a tattoo this big,
shit.
and it's going to cost just as much money for a tattoo this big. Go ahead and sit in my chair. It's a little bit harder of a sell, but, one of those things.
Clearly it's worth it, and imagine that the clients are flipping out. They're, people that are looking at those tattoos must be flipping out. Wow, that looks so real. Let's do one last question about this client experience a little bit, and I guess maybe we could talk a little bit about the different types. There's a lot of tattooers that are watching, a lot of apprentices. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the different types of reactions or experiences that you're helping clients. Let me take a sip of my tea so I can ask this question right. One of the things I like to dork out on, is the experience, but it's also the experience that helps set the stage for the transformation of the client, right? Like they're coming to you with some sort of imagery, and this is my question. That people are coming to you for a couple different types of tattoos. Somebody that's coming to you for a portrait that's a memorial tattoo, or somebody who's coming to you with a portrait of somebody that maybe it's not a memorial tattoo, but somebody whose energies are trying to manifest. Or, sometimes it's just a matter of like, I want something pretty cool that pops off the skin. Although I imagine that imagine these tattoos, it's not just or maybe it's just a blow pop, maybe it's just a strawberry, but those strawberries or blow pops could also be, those could be memorial tattoos also. So I guess my question is,
sure.
Can you talk a little bit about the different transformations that you've seen your clients go through over the years?
Well, hold that thought, hold that question. I just want to say one other thing. And I find this interesting, and I have held one seminar once. It was actually at Loose Screw. It was for the guys over there. And it went really, really well. But shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. What was I going to say? Had a brain fart. I'm sorry.
Good.
What was your question?
So, let's actually maybe while you're still on the seminar stuff, let's just talk about the actual format. So, what will the format be for this upcoming set of seminars? Or it's not a set of seminars. Sorry, this is good. We will definitely edit. Let me get myself on here so I could ask the question. So you have a pretty awesome format for this upcoming seminar / workshop. There's one day where you have like your presentation and you go through your formulas, and then the next day people are gonna have practice skins and they're gonna be doing tattoos, or on the practice skins with you there. Let's talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit. It sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So the loose screw, which was my first like 3D type of seminar, it went well. There was no workshop, but it was just I guess instruction, a lecture if you will, by showing hey, look at this, and this is what I do, and here, look at the screen, and here's step one. But yes, it's almost step by step. It's almost not like a paint by number or any means, but like there's definitely a process. There's definitely stages in order to capture that, and if you skip a step, you're gonna see the corner that was cut. So it's completely different. Like I said, this seminar is going to be like nothing else. I don't think. I mean, I don't know anybody that's ever taught what I'm about to teach. So it's gonna be good
Awesome.
for
And now,
somebody that tunes in.
should people be, the people that are taking the in-person workshop on the second day where they're doing the tattoos, they're bringing their own tattoo machines, I presume, and their own inks, or how does that work?
It doesn't really matter about tattoo machines. It doesn't matter about the ink. It doesn't matter about all that stuff. What matters is the mindset that might need to be altered. But oh, that's what I was gonna say. Shit, it just came back to me. So I feel like this seminar, even though it's for 3D realism, okay, or whatever you want to call it, it'll work for a traditional artist. It'll work for new school, Japanese, uh, lettering, all of it. I don't care what kind of style you do. This can be applied to what you do or what they do, and that's gonna make things real interesting. You're gonna see that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Watching what people do. That's one of the most satisfying things about just teaching in general is, you know, we end up, sharing whatever it is that we happen to figure out, usually by trial and error, or sometimes by filtering other people's lessons when we're smart enough to be able to do so. But likewise, like when we're teaching things, and then people take that and run with it. All of a sudden, 3 years later, 5 years later, we're seeing all this different crazy stuff come back. It's
Yeah.
very satisfying for sure.
Yeah.
But
So, but to finish your question, sorry. Uh, as far as ink or needles or machines or whatever the heck these guys got to bring for the workshop part of it, they could probably just use what I bring. Yeah, probably bring machine and needles. I guess that's it. Everything else, yeah, everything else doesn't really matter.
yeah. It's awesome. I definitely get it. So okay, so I do want to. I'm going to bring out one for anybody that's still watching. I want to. I need to fact check my brain sometimes. Is it? Did you tell me a story? Is it true that Sylvester Stallone found you way back in the day on one of the TattooNOW websites?
He did, and I
Yeah.
just saw him a couple days ago,
Oh
and
no
I saw him a
shit.
few days before that, and then I saw him like a week before that, and he texts me all the freaking time.
Uh,
And he's an amazing guy. Yes, that's probably where he found me. Yeah, he called me one day, and he's like, "Hey, Mark," and I thought I was being pranked, but no,
sure.
it was him. And we talk, and I see him a lot. Actually, recently, I'm just going through all of his tattoos. He just wanted me to brighten and uh, just make him as good as they can be, and you know, it is what it is. But he's super awesome. He's really, I really like him a lot. But he's sly. So it's like he wants what he wants, and he's an artist. So it's like I have to listen and all
Yeah.
that good stuff. But
I
yeah.
remember the reason why I swore that it was true is because I remember you were saying that he had mentioned one of the other tattooers that had their profile picture was like of a, I don't know, killer clown or killer zombie or something, and you were like, yeah, Sylvester was a little bit like, I'm not so sure about that guy because he's got a funny picture. And in my head, I remember I was like, oh man, that's it.
Yeah.
He's never coming back, that guy. Like, we need to pass, Sly's test. And then the next day I was in the shower, or I was somewhere, and I was like, Sylvester Stallone is cutting like Rambo 6, where he like tears people's throats out and eats their eyeballs and shit. Like, he's getting offended. Okay, whatever, it's all good. But it's always fun sometimes
he's super cool.
It's awesome. And the fact that he's actually going to great tattooers, to get tattooed. Obviously there's so many celebrities or people with means that somehow they don't transition into getting amazing tattoos. But it's always good to see celebrities that do so. And again, part of the fun part is like by the time you get to his level, I mean, he's clearly an executive level artist. There's a lot to learn from. I imagine from that kind of clientele. But we don't need to dork out on that too much. Like I said, I just mostly wanted to fact check the fact that wasn't going out of my mind. So, is there anything else you might want to add before we wrap it up? We're going to have a lot of fun coming up in Paradise, but we don't want to, we don't need to go on too far because we want to encourage people to show up.
Yeah, and I hope a lot of people turn out. I think that, there's a difference between getting behind like what we're doing right here, behind a camera and separate versus in person. You learn so much more. You could vibe out. You could, you're like, wait, what? And you're like, just do that. It's like there's a lot of pros, way more pros to getting out and coming. I would encourage people to come and take seminars. And I always feel like, shoot, for whatever it is, a couple $100 or whatever, if you walk away with, even one, or multiple new thought or a thinking process behind something that can make you better in a certain way, it's worth it. Like, how is that not worth it?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, I've heard and done interviews with gazillions of people. And then when I'm producing an event where I have the opportunity to take their seminar, and especially with people like you or like Baxter or Guy, like somebody with that Guy, I like literally. I don't know if there's any media that he makes that I don't end up consuming somehow. But when he's doing a seminar, or when he's doing like a featured interview, all of a sudden he's like putting it in order. And instead of like picking up pieces, parts here and there, all of a sudden he's like, this is my thought process, or this section of my thought process from start to finish. I'm like, oh my God, that's how those puzzle pieces fit. So I definitely can imagine, to your point, and to encourage people that even if, and the whole point of engaging in all of these interviews is to encourage people to come to the events where we're really picking it apart, and it's designed to inspire people so that they can do better tattoos and do better art.
Oh, for sure. And especially like the workshop part of it. So like the day one will be, seminar, lecture. That could almost be good enough for somebody, but if somebody wants to take it to the next level, which, hey, I'm a true believer in, let's just do better. Like if it's an extension of something, hey, the workshop is going to be real good. That's when you learn the most. Like we were saying from the very beginning, I feel like I've learned the most from getting tattooed the last, whatever it was, 27 years. So if you're watching, if I could step in and say, hey, do you mind? Step in. They're gonna learn way more than being like, yeah, just do that next time over like a Zoom call. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And the fact that you're not tattooing on people, it means there's no health concerns. And, to your point, it's like almost like doing a little mini collab with people. I see a lot of this with, painting seminars and stuff, where the instructors will go along and they start painting on things, and they like literally show people right then and there. So I'm really excited for the opportunity for tattooers to be able to engage in this kind of education. So I really appreciate, you coming out on again, in crazy times under short notice. So yeah, anybody that's in New England, or there's people traveling, people got their tickets from Florida. People, some people will get in the airplanes and come on out. So like I said, it'll be an honor, and it'll be really fun to kind of catch up after all these years again in person, and to to see the effect that you have on another round of people.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, I definitely want to thank everybody in the chat room. I want to thank Guy Aitchison for making the Reinventing channel and platform possible. All the TattooNOW clients. Thanks to Mike for the time, and I'm excited to be hammering out on the new version of your website. So yeah, as time permits, I know that right now your time is at a minimum. You'll have exciting news for everybody, I imagine, pretty soon. But awesome. Let's let's end this. You want to do the look straight into the camera and then let people know, like do the call out, your name, the website, phone numbers, Instagrams, whatever it is that you want to send people to find you.
I'm Mike Devries. You can find me on Instagram, or actually TikTok now. TikTok's actually pretty good. At Mike Devries. If you want to explore the wipeouts, give them a try. mbwipeouts.com. Memento Publishing, get your Mastering Realism book, and you won't regret that one. And we'll see you at the seminar.
Awesome. Let me fire this up. Thanks. Voila. Okay, well, thanks again, everybody, and we will catch up